To better your best and your world, you need to dig deep and grow. Join us as top experts, leaders, and creators uncover powerful insights to help you grow in life and in work. And now, your host, Michael McAvoy. Hey, everybody. It's Michael McAvoy. Welcome to another episode of Dig Deep Grow, the show dedicated to helping you better your best and your world. So we're going to talk about becoming a more, let's say, a decisive person today. I think that's the way I interpret what we'll be talking about with our author, Rick Ruiz. The book is entitled, well, I'm going to actually introduce Rick, and we'll have Rick do the description. So, Rick, welcome to the show.
It's a pleasure, Michael.
So tell me the title of the book and why you wrote it.
All right. The title of the book is Move: How to Move Mountains When You Think You Can't. I think all of us are looking for success. We want to be able to get the big job, the promotion, the house. But how do we do it? So we're always wishing into the future. And after 3 decades of being in operations, I realized that there's 3 types of people. And this is what the book is about. The first part is wishers. It talks about wishers looking forward into the future, trying to hope for something, but not really taking all the action that we really need to do to get what we want. And then later on in life, we end up wishing backwards with regret for the things we could have or should have done. So that's wishers. Then we have the wishy-washies, the people that just flip-flop, do a little of this, do a little of that, but don't achieve everything that they can. And then the individuals that really go out there and achieve. Great. Those are people that can wash away the obstacles, and that's what I would call them the washers.
Okay, one moment. I'm just going to adjust something here on the sound. Okay, so Rick, in your experience, you said you had been in business leadership for 30 years. What percentage of those people are wishers?
Well, Earl Nightingale many years ago did a study and concluded that 5% of the population are the ones that are really successful, that achieve something. So in my estimation, using that same logic, I'll say 5% of the population are what I call washers. The vast majority of us fall under the wisher or the wishy-washy category. Yes, we do a few things here and there, but we don't really achieve everything that we possibly could. But the ones that really achieve the greatest are very few. But I think all of us have the capability to be able to move from one stage to the next, and especially if we recognize who we are.
So you wrote this book basically to help people move forward in life. Is this more toward business, or is it all around?
It's actually all around. My initial intent was high school students or college students figuring out where they wanted to go, what they were doing. I've had senior citizens go through and read it and come back and say, gosh, Rick, I'm a wisher. I've had endorsements on my concept for wisher, washer, and wishy-washy from leadership gurus in the marketplace, Dennis Waitley, Brian Tracy. I've had colonels in the Air Force endorse my concepts here, what's described in the book.
So tell me the differences between, the big difference between the washer, as you describe it, the person who really is fulfilling their ambition, their focus, versus the wishers. Where are they moving from to?
Well, a washer will have a dream, and they will commit it to execution. And in order to do that, they don't just think about it and they say, I'm going to go off and do it. They actually set out a plan, and they go out and they set out to achieve it. Now, I have found in my own personal life that the goals that I have set, invariably I accomplish them, but I never accomplish them in the timeline that I originally set out for them to materialize. But the fact that I set out a goal, the fact that I planned for it, the fact that I'm executing on it, is what makes the dream happen. Now, life happens. All of us have things that happen in our life that are going to throw curveballs at us. And that certainly has happened to me. The most severe curveball that was thrown at me was my 18-year-old daughter was killed in a car crash. And when that happens, the world stops. You feel like you want to crawl under a rock and you never want to come out. But the reality is that you have a family that's counting on you, you have employees that are counting on you, you have a contribution, and there's something that you can add into the marketplace, and so you go forward. And I can tell you that even in the death of my daughter, her experience, her life, I still lives on, and I'm able to utilize that experience to help others. So indirectly, she's a part of me as well.
So there's a motivation, obviously, that you know, moves you forward. But from a practical standpoint, what do you tell people? What are the steps that someone can take that would help them to move forward? Hopefully it doesn't take a life-changing event, as I've just described.
No, I think setting a goal and saying to yourself, I really have something. I am not going to get to the end of my life and say, I wish I could have done this, or I wish I should have done that. A very good example, and I describe him in my book, is Colonel Sanders. He was a man of very humble means. He lost his parents at an early age, really didn't achieve much, and then he gets into his 60s, and another curveball was thrown his way, and I describe all those curveballs in my book. But at the age of 62, he says, I'm going to go out there, I've got a recipe for chicken, I'm going to go and share it. So he gets all dressed up in his white garb, and he goes to a restaurant, and he says, look, I've got a great idea here, some great chicken, let's go in, let's be partners, and let's go make this happen. First restaurant said no. Second restaurant said no. A lot of us, when we go through and we encounter these no's, we tell our family, we tell our friends, we tell our neighbors, we tell our bosses, and we get a lot of no's. And we say, well, I guess it just wasn't meant to be. I thought I had a great idea. Well, Colonel Sanders endured 1,009 no's before he got a yes. How can somebody in his 60s with a $105 Social Security check make it to be such a successful entrepreneur that is known around the world? The fact is that we are all going to fail, but failure is a key part of success. You double your failure rate to increase your success rate, and that is the key thing. Are we willing to accept risk? Will we have the self-determination to say, you know, I do have a good idea. I'm going to share it with as many people as I can. They may tell me they don't like it for whatever reason. I will listen to what they have to say, because that can be something to help me hone it, make it better. But I still have a dream, and I'm going to make sure it happens.
So what would you say, though? I mean, I'll have to say that I think Colonel Sanders sounds like a you know, he was born with this trait. You know, it almost sounds like, you know, he didn't have to like go through, like you said, he went over 1,000 times. That was because he had something in him that pushed him to do that. Not everybody's like that. Now, you could maybe share what you think, you know, whether he had to overcome a lot of adversity before even he entered into that KFC.
Colonel Sanders was overcoming adversity since the age of 12. Some of the other individuals in my book, I talk about Walt Disney. Again, this is in the second section where I talk about real people. Walt Disney had a dream. He starts out with Mickey Mouse. He's the voice of Mickey Mouse. But through his career and through his life, and I describe it, he went bankrupt a couple of times. He had people that just really didn't believe in him and what he wanted to do and what he wanted to achieve, and he put everything on the line. He started some theme parks that never came into fruition. The World War II came in, and they ended up appropriating his Burbank studio, and he basically loses everything. The American market didn't really want his Bambi and Snow White, so he went to Europe, where he found some customers that were more willing to accept his movies. The point is that all these people, that if you look at them throughout history and even today, they have had adversity in their life, and they still continue to move forward. Abraham Lincoln is a fantastic example of a failure that became an incredible success. And if you look at his biography and you see how many times he ran for for an office and failed, how he almost had a nervous breakdown, how he lost his girlfriend, all the things that he encountered in life. He just kept moving forward. And this is really the key thing that I'm saying in Move. We all have that capability. We can move forward. And we don't want to get to any stage in our life and say, man, I wish I had studied harder in school. You know, even high school students, and I talk to middle schools and I talk to high school students, 70% of high school students, when they get out of high school, wish that they had studied harder in school. Why did we wait till the end? And I'm saying if we can reverse that and say, I'm not going to wish forward with hope, but not do anything with it. I'm not going to get later on in life and wish backwards with regret for the things I should have done.
Okay, so yeah, if I'm a person who has come to a point in their life asking that very question, like, wow, I haven't made a whole lot of myself yet. What do I got to do different? You know, if they had a sit down with you, what would you say? And what would you say? Look, here's what you got to do. You got to turn things around. These are the steps you got to take.
Well, in my book, I create templates for that, and the first thing is to know who you are. What is your purpose? What do you really want to achieve? What really attracts you? There is no standard recipe for every person. Every person is drawn in a certain direction. Do you want to help people? Do you want to make things? Do you want to create things? What do you want to do? So having that definition and then saying, okay, how can I go about doing that? If I want to be a photographer, for example, and I love photography, well, am I subscribing to a magazine that only focuses on photography? Am I learning the latest traits? If I'm looking for promotion in my company, am I really seeing where the company is going, and am I trying to add those skills into my repertoire, or am I just waiting for the company to say, look, I'll give you some training, or I'll ask you to do something? We can be proactive and push ourselves. We own our career. The company owns the job. We own our career. So it's incumbent upon us to be able to take responsibility and be able to move forward.
Okay, so talk about some other things on your template. You know, you mentioned that there are different steps on the template. Could you point to a couple of those?
Right. Well, you know, if we talk about New Year's resolutions, the vast majority of the people around the world will create New Year's resolutions. I will lose weight. I will exercise. I will do this. I will do that. But I think we all know that 1 week, 1 month, 3 months, 6 months down into the year, for all intents and purposes, the vast majority of us have stopped, really just stopped pursuing our goal and our dream. So are we really making a commitment and a contract with ourselves that we're willing to honor? So in my book, even simple things like goals, if you go into the business world, you're typically told, I want three-year goal. What's your 1-year goal? What's your 3-year goal? What's your 5-year goal? But let's take it even. Let's break it down even more. What are some fun goals that I have? What are some personal goals that I have? I provide you those templates and I give you ideas to do that. If you can start going through and seeing how you can break down goals into the fun, the personal, the company, your financial goals, and start to see yourself accomplishing them, your belief factor in yourself goes up. And every day, every month, every year that goes by, you start to have an increased sense of power that you can actually go out there and achieve what you want to achieve.
Okay, so we've taken a couple of steps here. In my personal life, you know, what I found is that I can set goals, and I'm fairly good at it, but I find that they do trail off after a little bit, that you don't, the intensity and the stick-to-itiveness is a hard thing to maintain. Is there anything that you present in your book that would help me there?
The templates, for example, and the goals that you establish, if you write them out and you actually put them by your bedside and you look at them every day, and the key thing is, on your goal sheet, if you sign it at the bottom, it becomes a contract that you make with yourself. No one else. You can have a witness sign it, but this is something that you are committing to yourself. And our word is the most powerful thing that we can that we have. It's the most it's a valuable asset. And when we set a goal and we say, this is what I'm going to go and achieve, and regardless of what comes in my way, I'm going to go out there and achieve it. It changes our mindset. We feel like we are empowered to be able to go and do things that we just ordinarily couldn't do before.
Okay, so talk a little about your some of the situations that you've been in business-wise, and real world type of things where you've helped to turn around people in these situations.
Well, I'll talk about my own personal life. I started off with younger. I was in construction. I thought that I was going to go into business and have my own construction company. I had 7 people working for me. And then one day I hurt my back and I was paralyzed. I couldn't move for 3 months. And that in the construction world in summer, it just really kills you. So after that experience, I said, I think I'm going to go back to school and I'm going to use my brain instead of my brawn. That was really the thought that I said to myself. And I went back to school, and I ended up getting into lasers, and I hired into a Fortune 500 company, and I started to build my career there. I've raised earthworms. I thought, well, I'm going to go into green. I'm going to raise earthworms, these special earthworms that can go and eat garbage. I thought it was a great thing. I started to make sales around the world, even to zoos for these worms, and then my beds got contaminated with a worm that ate up all the other worms that I really wanted to harvest or breed, and I lost everything in that. I've had multiple businesses along the way that I've created that have not been successful, and I've learned from those and kept building them. Now I have 6 books. I've managed operations with 15,000 people. I've worked in 4 countries. All of those things have helped me get to where I am today.
That's pretty. That's a lot of. You traversed a lot of territory there in that answer. That was pretty good. So moving through the process, the templated process in your book, where are we leading to, and how far have we come here? I
want people to really understand that when they go out and they say, I would like to be a runner, or I wish I could lose 10 pounds or 20 pounds, or I'm going to do this. Every time somebody comes to me and tells me they're going to do something, there's a part of me that wants to jump on the bandwagon that says, I'm there. How can I help you? And then as time goes on, as I watch these people tell me their stories and dreams, and I got excited for them, and immediately I was thinking, how can I help them? I found out that they really weren't that committed. And at the end of the day, I felt like they stole my energy. And I don't want to steal anyone's energy. I want whatever I say, I'm going to do. What I do, I'm going to say. So if we can carry on that mindset and we can apply it in our schools, and kids can turn to each other and say, if you're full of it, if you're just blowing smoke, if a kid could say, instead of using some cuss word, say, you're just a wisher. Well, that's psychology. If somebody told me that, saying, no, I'm not, I'm going to tell you. I'm going to show you. I'm going to get the A's. I'm going to become that doctor. I'm going to become that lawyer. I'm going to go and do whatever I want to do. I am not a wisher. So if we can integrate those 3 words, am I a wisher, am I wishy-washy, or am I a washer? And the washer is the key thing. Can I wash away the obstacles? Water is ubiquitous. It's around us. It's soft. It's malleable, but it gives us light. Can you give life to ideas? Can you carve a canyon like the Grand Canyon? Can you carry a ship across the Atlantic? Water has incredible power, and we need to be able to harness it, and we have the ability within our own body, within our own mind, to be able to go out and achieve that. As Henry Ford said, if you think you can or you think you can't, you are probably right.
That was you brought up an interesting psychological trait, and that is that when people observe successful individuals, there is an aura about them. There's something very attractive to anyone. They see a success in that person. But there's a negative side to how they react to that, and some people will take it as a lesson to learn, to grow, to do it themselves, and others are going to, like you say, latch on to that person, hoping, that they can get vicariously what that person has. And as you said, that can be a downer. It's an energy drain to the person, to that successful person. How do you change that psychology? Because that's, to me, sounds like it's a fairly common one. That's the one, the wisher, as you said, where they see great things, they get excited, but they have no way of acting upon it.
I can tell you that happened in my own life, and this is where I feel like I'm speaking from the heart. I was amazed by the Abraham Lincolns, the Walt Disneys that I've described before. I've read their biographies. I've studied many people, and then I started reading and buying a lot of books and motivational tapes, going to seminars, and you get this what is called in the industry the sunshine effect. You feel all excited and energized, and then the day after you start to kind of, get depressed or wonder how it's going to happen. And that certainly applied in my own life. And I would go through and read these books, and I'd get all energized, and I'd say, I'm excited, I'm ready, I can go out there and I can do it. And then after a day, 2 days, a week, I'd kind of say, well, geez, I don't seem to really have that magic. What am I missing? And so then I thought I needed another book, another mentor, somebody else to listen to. And eventually I got to the realization that I didn't need any book, I didn't need any other author, I didn't need any other speaker, because I already had enough within me, and what I really needed to do was do. I needed to just go out there and experience life to the fullest. And that was really the turning point for me. So yes, I needed all of those speakers and the webinars and the books and so forth before to give me a good foundation. But at some point in time, you just draw the line. You say, okay, I've got enough. Now it's up to me. I have to go out there and do it. And right, wrong, or indifferent, I'm going to go out there and I'm going to try. Edison, when he was trying to come up with a light bulb, he thought he could make it happen. He figured it out, thought about it, and by the time he gets to the 6,000th experiment to try to make a light bulb work, a reporter comes to him and says, Edison, why don't you give it up? You've obviously failed 6,000 times. This thing isn't going to work. And Edison replied, young man, let me correct you. I have not failed 6,000 times. I have succeeded 6,000 times. I know 6,000 ways that will not work, and I will not try those again. And he kept going, and when he passed the 10,000 mark, that's when he came up with the light bulb that you and I enjoy and the rest of the world enjoys every single day.
Yeah, so the interesting thing is, in your own description of your experience, and this goes for, I think, the majority of people, there's a sense that you have to go and do things, you have to read things, you have to experience things, and you're constantly learning, which is a good thing, but the piece missing is the action, the doing. And I think the attractive thing for the leaders, the successful people, is that these are people who dive in before they have any idea how the outcome is going to be. And so it's all about how long do we have to go through a learning process, or should we just, like, let the fear go and just dive in, take the lumps.
That's correct. And just to modify just a little bit what you just said, the person that dives in doesn't know what the outcome is going to be. They do and they don't, but let me draw an analogy here. A baby that's trying to walk kind of sees the adults walking, but doesn't know what it feels like to walk, but knows that he can somehow. And eventually, so he'll try, and he will try 1,000 times to walk, but he will fail 999 times to get up and be able to walk. But when he gets to and all these, in this process of failing, parents are encouraging the child, you can do it, you can do it, you can do it. There's nothing wrong with that failure. And on the 1,000th try, the baby stands up and says, yep, I can walk, here it is, and we're all excited. Somewhere in between our childhood and our adulthood, we allow other people to start to come in and determine our worth and tell us you are worth something or not. And so if we come up with an idea and they laugh at us, we consider that failure, and so we shy away from it because we don't want anybody to affect our own personal self-worth. And what I'm saying is, be like the baby. Go out there and say, you know, I'm going to do it. I don't know really what it's going to look like at the end, but I have a dream and I want to achieve it. And at the end of the day, this is my life, and I'm going to finish my life and say to myself, I set out with a dream and I accomplished it, or at least I shot for the stars and I reached the moon. I feel good. I'm going to sleep good tonight.
Yeah, I think that the short word for that is determination, and
Right.
building the ability to stay on something for the long term. So, Rick, tell me what would be a next step for someone who is going to get your book or has your book? Is there a next step that they can go in order to take it further?
Yes, absolutely. I have a complete action plan that's very comprehensive with lots and lots and lots of templates, examples, advice. That is available for sale at beawasher.com.
Excellent. Okay. Well, hey, Rick, I appreciate your joining us today. And again, repeat your website, and we'll have people go there.
Sure. The book is at www.movemountains.guru.
Excellent. Thanks for joining us, Rick, and hope to see you again when you have your next book.
Oh, thank you. It's a pleasure. Thank you, Michael.
All right. Have a great one.